What's going on, Wolfpack Nation? This is Macon Adams and Leighton Smith coming to you, giving you the fifth episode of Tuffy Talk. Got a lot of stuff scheduled today. We'll be talking a little bit about the week, talking a little bit about women's basketball, and also be interviewing Adam Hall, the assistant coach for the wrestling team. Got a lot of exciting stuff planned for you guys. So with that being said, let's go and get this thing started. Wolfpack Nation, thank you so much again for tuning in. We're so excited to give you this next episode. Please feel free again to subscribe by clicking the button in the bottom right-hand corner. And please like this video. We really appreciate that support. And also, too, if you go to this Twitter handle and Instagram handle above, bang, follow us on there and for Instagram and Twitter. And we look forward to seeing you guys on there. So that being said, Macon, again, a lot going on this week with sports. Obviously, had the big wins, men's basketball against Boston College. Great to see the win there. And then wrestling, we fell short, but it was an amazing match to see against Virginia Tech. Really was.
Yeah, that'll probably be the match of the year in the ACC.
Oh, for sure. I mean, NCAA. I mean, that was a crazy finish, and so was obviously a bummer to see us fall short. But I mean, pretty much what I said on Twitter as well is, I mean, for the last 3 years, we were the ones that were getting that last second takedown to win. And so, I mean, for them to get us on one, it's fair. I mean, again, it
goes both ways.
Yeah, they're an elite program as well. And so, and actually over the last 9 attempts that we've had at an ACC title, whether it was regular season or postseason, we actually have won 6 out of 9 of them. So, I mean, can't really be too upset. So, and then women's basketball, I mean, we had the big win on Monday against Louisville.
Huge.
Yeah, it was huge for the program. And to have 2 times that we've beaten the number 1 team on the road.
I think State's the only team to have beaten a number 1 team in the country. Is that right, Leighton?
I mean, we're definitely the only one to have beaten 2 of them. Let's put it that way. I mean, that we know for sure of. So let's stick with that. I mean, the biggest thing that was kind of disappointing to me was really what happened next. Obviously, we had 6 days to prepare and get ready for Carolina. We go to Carolina and we just didn't click. A lot of turnovers. We didn't really get Alyssa Cunane involved. I know at one point actually during the game, they actually mentioned that Alyssa was 6'5", if I'm not mistaken. And at most of the point in the game, the tallest person they had was 6'2". So, I mean, it was shocking that we, and unfortunately we couldn't get her involved, but she also was involved in a lot of foul trouble for most of the game as well, which didn't help either. So, a lot of players like Jakia Brown-Turner, just weren't really having their best game. So, but, definitely the biggest thing, which I know a lot of State fans are really talking about, is how the rankings came out. And so we are still number 4, but Louisville is ranked number 3. So, I mean, I know you're shaking your head making at that. I mean, what are your initial reactions to that?
I mean, mine's twofold. Like we said, we just beat the number 1 team twice in South Carolina and Louisville, both on the road. And then we have to go and drop a game against our rival, UNC. And it's just like, that's so frustrating. That's a very NC thing. It's like such an NC State thing to do. I just get tired of having that happen where we have a chance to be great and claim that number 1 spot, and we just can't do it. And maybe it's next week we get it back. Maybe it's some other time, but we just can't ever take the easy road, and it just really bugs me. And I know it bugs a lot of State fans, but at the same time, I think we're the only team to have beaten 2 number 2. We're definitely the only team to have beaten 2 number 1 teams and on the road. And one of them was Louisville, and they're still ranked ahead of us. Yeah. So, I mean, I would have thought, I realize I'm nitpicking here. Who cares about rankings? The team can only do what they're going to do and just keep, do their best and win games. But that doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. We beat Louisville. I mean, I don't get it.
Well, and I mean, kind of the one thing which I would say to that really is, I think that when we beat Louisville, I mean, everybody was talking about on the ACC network and everybody above that. I mean, there's no doubt NC State deserves to be the number 1 team. No even question about it. But when we lose a game like Louisville,
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
All the negotiation chips just unfortunately go out the window. I mean, unfortunately, we can't really blame anybody but ourselves. Then day we fell short.
Right.
Now again, I mean, I think for the long term, you can't. I mean, I don't think any state fan can really be nervous about this team. I mean, Westmore and these guys are and these girls are going to bounce back, and play big for the rest of the season. So, but and again, at the end of the day, just yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, just like you were saying, Macon, at the end of the day, rankings don't really matter in terms of championship wise. At the end of the day, when it comes to the postseason,
you got to take care of business.
It's 0-0. Got to win or go home. So, so definitely looking forward to big bounce back there. But yeah, it was a definite oddity in the fact that that Westmore and the team did have so much preparation. So it did seem a very NC State thing to do, especially since. But I mean, it's not really shocking either because I know that the UNC in the game before they had only scored 18 points in the first half of their last game.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I know they're not good. I know they're not really that good, but it's just I don't know.
Yeah. So
you hate to see that.
So you knew that you were going to get their best shot, and you did. I mean, they were shooting lights out. They were running the ball. They were getting us fatigued, and they were really taking advantage of where we were weak at. So, but again, it's at the end of the day, you just got to kind of ball it up. At the end of the day, it's done and over with. Ball it up, throw it out the window, move on to the next game. Let's see what can happen. So, with that being said, I will go right on ahead here to our interview with Adam Hall, the assistant wrestling coach, and hope you guys enjoy it. Hey, Wolfpack Nation. This is Layton Smith with my co-host, Macon Adams, here with our guest here, Coach Adam Hall. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, Layton, thanks for having me on. Appreciate you guys and all you're doing, trying to spread the word about Wolfpack Nation.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's just we're so blessed right now as state fans to have so many great things going on right now with wrestling, with women's basketball pulling off a big win against Louisville, with I mean, across the board there's so much going on that's good right now. So just happy to kind of put a spotlight on this one sport here that's been just off the charts recently. So
dominating.
Yeah. So just kind of first started off, Coach. So, I mean, I know that your background when you first started wrestling, you came from Boise State and wrestled there as a 157 pounder, was a two-time Pac-10 champion, NCAA All-American, 122-18 record. So, I mean, just to kind of start off with, I mean, obviously, great overall career there, and I'm sure you have a lot to be proud of there. But if you had to pick out one specific moment during your time there as a wrestler, what would you kind of pinpoint on? Maybe what's one moment that stands out to you from your career there?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think in terms of, I can think of a few things, like the time I finally broke through to become an All-American, the feeling of that. But really, I think the defining moment was kind of in my senior year. A lot of people don't know that I got hurt my senior year pretty badly, and we kind of kept it under wraps. And I was on a hot streak and doing really well, ranked number 1 in the country and undefeated. But I had something that was really affecting me, and my coaches didn't give me any inch of I'm feeling sorry for you, and that's basically what I needed. And I knew deep down, because at the end of the day, people have to overcome things, and I think that was a big part of me, like, I think growing as a person and growing eventually as a coach, because now that coaching athletes and having them deal with serious adversities, it just, that you've been there and you're going to help them through it. And at the end of the day, they need probably a little bit of tough love, because if you're going to do it, then do it. So that was probably a defining moment while I was there, because I knew if I was going to go on to coaching that I would probably have some similar situations that I had. And yeah, I think that more than really anything, there's a lot of good memories, obviously, but that some that were a little bit tougher that I had to figure out and kind of shape who I am as a person and what I wanted to be as a coach too, eventually.
Yeah. So was that kind of your driving force to why you wanted to become a coach? I mean, it sounds like that you had a lot of inspiration from your coaching staff.
Yeah. I had a great coaching staff. I was very fortunate to have coaching staff that was there for my entire career. The assistants were there. All 5 years that I was there, head coach was there all 5 years. And so I appreciated that a lot. And, that kind of stuck with me too, because I've been in college coaching for 10 years and I've only been at 2 places. And I've really felt that I wanted to stay at those 2 places to help build what is currently build off of what is currently there.
Yeah. And I know, cause you spent 4 years at the University of Columbia. So how'd you actually get that first opportunity? I mean, to go from Boise, Idaho to Columbia, I mean, that's a long transition. So, I mean, how'd you get that opportunity?
Yeah, it was just kind of happenstance. I mean, but to be honest, both jobs, I was just kind of focused on doing a good job where I was at, and some opportunities came about. I was coaching in the summer. Every summer when I was at Boise, I would coach the junior national team there. And one of the dads, the kid that I was coaching, he's like, "Hey, I know that they had some turnover at Columbia, and he had a wrestler who I actually competed with in high school, who was still finishing up his eligibility there." And, mentioned to his coach, "Hey, there's an opening for an assistant coaching position in the middle weights, and, Adam should consider it." And I didn't think twice about it, but I kind of followed up on it. Somebody was like, "Well, if anything, it's a free trip to New York City." I was like, "Okay, whatever." Yeah. So I went out there, and to be honest, I loved it. It was different, obviously, and kind of a culture shock. And the reality didn't really set in until I actually accepted the job and was actually living there. But I was able to cut my teeth in the coaching world and develop some athletes, and met my wife out there. Awesome. So it was great. And the same thing with NC State. Like, we had a few good years when I was at Columbia, and Coach Pop reached out, and same thing. I didn't really have any thoughts, because I'd turned down some other opportunities at other schools, and it just felt right for the next step professionally for me.
And so what was the initial selling point when you and Coach Pop had that initial conversation about bringing you on the staff? What was his initial selling point? I mean, obviously by that point, he's had a couple of years under his belt at the program, and I mean, it still was on the up and coming. And so, I mean, what was that kind of like initial conversation or selling point for you to come and say what you could build together?
It really is what we embody now. It's pack mentality, and you hear it, and unless you're involved in it and you start to see really what it's about, it's just one of those, like any sort of phrase that a school might have. But once I accepted the job and once I was there, I really realized what that is. We're trying to be the best. We're not trying to be 12th in the country. You know what I mean? It's not a goal for us to just be in the top 25 or the top 10. Our goal is to win a national title, and we've continued to recruit hard. We've continued to maintain a strong culture, a culture of leaders, and we truly believe that at when at some point we're going to win a national title. If it's this year, it's next year, whatever it is, we're going to continue to recruit hard and find the guys that fit us. And that kind of was the selling point, was the pack mentality. And I had done my homework, and I realized, like, yes, I knew who Nick Gwizdowski was, but at that time, like, Tommy Gant was kind of coming into his own, Max Roscoff, Kevin Jack, they were all, those were the early years of the program. And I could see they were at a turning point, and that they were about to be good. And they just, if I can help perpetuate the culture and build from where they're at, then I'm going to, and I think that was a big selling point, is I knew where they were trying to go. Yep. And they had some good momentum.
Yeah.
So kind of touching on that, I remember as a student, because I was there from about 2010 to 2014. Leighton was there after I was. Mm-hmm. I remember going to a few wrestling matches, and to be honest with you, I didn't go to a ton. But I remember they had like the one curtain that came down, and there was maybe like 20, 30 people in that one section of Reynolds, and you had the wrestling match. You just kind of set the mat out there and let's play. Now it's the whole Reynolds is filled up.
Top to bottom.
I mean, top everywhere you can sit, get someone in, and it's nuts in there. Especially like as the match goes on, it's electric. Even on watching it on TV, it's like, man, this is awesome.
Yeah.
How did that get to that point? I mean, I know you talked a little bit about the selling points, but can you walk through the work ethic and how much time and energy went into that and the culture like you're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, it speaks volumes to Pat, just his outreach in alums, networking in the community, and just building our brand and building our program. And like they say, results kind of speak for themselves. I think people love to see winning, and eventually just more and more people come, hey, what's this wrestling about? I have a friend who wrestled, or my roommate dated a wrestler, is going to the wrestling match, or whatever it is. And pretty soon people come and they start learning about it. And once you learn about it, you understand how intense it is. And I think that over time, it's just one of those things that you over time, consistency and right. Winning, it just draws people in because they want to be a part of something that is exciting. And we'll probably talk about the big duels that we've been a part of, but I mean, it culminated last year with the duel with UNC. I mean, 5,000 people screaming. You couldn't ask for it. It was stressful on the coaches, but it's probably awesome for fans. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, it was. I don't want to say it was on the verge of kind of pathetic, but it was pretty sad looking at it going into it, and now it's like it's hard to beat. I mean, I don't know of many schools in the country I've ever seen that have that kind of energy. So, kind of shifting gears a little bit, when you mentioned how Coach Pop sold you on the program, brought you in, you agreed to coach here, and you have all this stuff now. What does it take when you guys go in recruiting? When you go to identify talent, what are you guys looking for? I mean, because now you're bringing in top tier classes. It seems like you're near the last 5 years or so, maybe more than that. What do you look at for recruits?
Really the right fit. Obviously, there's rankings, there's national rankings,
right? Flow,
Intermat, a bunch of different news outlets will put out rankings. And yes, generally coaches follow that. But at the end of the day, we kind of reminded ourselves this past month that the culture, the fit is so important. Because I mean, for every Hayden and Trent Hidley that we brought in the program, you get a guy like Michael Machiavello or Tariq Wilson, a Sean Foss, even a Kevin Jack, these guys that in the right circumstances with the right training partners and believe, none of these guys were top recruits but made a big impact with their career.
Yeah. And so so on that checklist of kind of having that fit, is somewhere on that list being brothers on that checklist as well? Having two sets of brothers on the team this year, it's like, interesting. I mean,
brothers and twins. Yeah, it's been great though, because it's a brotherhood. Like we're in, we were going back to the recruiting, what you were talking about. We're trying to find just tough kids because we run a real tight ship. We run a hard train, and it's unforgiving, but wrestling's unforgiving at the highest level. If you want to be the best, it's unforgiving. And we really put our guys in a lot of stressful situations and in terms of training load, we try to maximize their athletic ability and squeeze every drop we have. So at the end of their career, they're like, I put everything I had into it, and I bought into what you guys are about.
Absolutely. And because I know too, kind of one thing that you're saying in terms of, recruiting top tier talent, but also guys that fit, when you're talking to a big time wrestling recruit, who maybe is getting recruited by Iowa, Penn State, Oklahoma State, you name it. What would you say is kind of the one thing that you preach them on in terms of what NC State offers that maybe those other programs don't?
I think the whole package for us. I mean, Raleigh is one of the booming cities in the country. Mm-hmm. And we tell people it's not just a 5-year commitment. It's however long you want to. We have plenty of guys who go on to have great careers in the Raleigh area. And, unfortunately, some places around the country, that where wrestling is a hotbed, aren't necessarily great for staying after college. And we try to promote that now that we have a successful RTC as well, with post-grad athletes training for world and Olympic titles. And, like I said, we say you have multiple avenues post-college to be successful, whether you want to go on to a career, or you want to go on to a master's degree, which several of our wrestlers have done. Tommy Gant, Kevin Jack, Michael Macchiavello, all those guys have a master's degree, and or you can just stay and train. So we have a great training environment, and part of our pack mentality is keeping as many guys from our program around to be mentored, to serve as mentors and training partners for our guys. And that's really what has helped elevate our program as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, that's the one thing which I do love about, I think wrestling really portrays really well, that you want to see with any team, is that you really want to see those guys, especially those guys that competed and won at the highest level, such as like a Nick Gwizdowski, Michael Macchiavello, Tommy Gant, those guys, and they stick around. And so, you see young guys such as like Isaac, who obviously has all the, to me, all the talent to do it all. And so to really be able to get mentored by those guys, it's hugely valuable. So definitely love that about the culture.
And I think a big part of it too is we're recruiting pretty much nationally. I'd say from the Midwest on, and every once in a while we'll get somebody from Michigan. We've had some people from Colorado, but at the end of the day, I think for us, we recruit a lot of guys who are in cold areas, and I give our guys now a hard time when it hits 45, 50 degrees here and they're complaining about it's freezing. I'm like, you're from Ohio. You're from Central PA. Like, get out of here, But the reality is it's a great place to live.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So to kind of transition into this season a little bit here. So, obviously this is a unique season to say the least. So, what has kind of been the transition, or what has kind of been some of the changes that the team, in terms of scheduling, in terms of, how you guys, process things due to COVID, in terms of training and et cetera, like that?
Yeah, it's been challenging for sure. Just like any place around the country, but I'm glad that we've worked hard with our administration, with our sports medicine, to make sure that we're getting the training opportunities that we need to in order to be successful this year. And it's kind of one of those things, like, if you train and get ready and you don't have a season, at least you like, nobody ever says, I wish I wouldn't have worked that hard. You prepare and got ready. But if you didn't prepare and then thinking we weren't going to have a season, and you have a season, you're not ready, then shame on you. So we were preparing, and yes, it's been tough. We've had a few locations that we've had to be at in order to fit the needs of our team and our training situation. But we've been really grateful that we've been moving forward as a team and training consistently for, I don't know, 6 months now, 7 months, whatever it is. But yes, it has been a big challenge. And again, hats off to our facilities, our sports medicine. And I like to think that we're, ahead of the curve in terms of our protocols and procedures in order to keep our student athletes healthy. And to be honest, like, we have a pretty clean program, and we have told our guys, like, it's no different. We're not a partying team. There are a lot of things that we focus on, and other than those things, and particularly in this year, because it's no secret how COVID spreads. And we told our guys, look, our season's literally 6-8 weeks long, whatever it is. And you have to put everything you have into this time and sacrifice a lot if you want to have a chance to achieve your goals.
Absolutely. Yeah, because one question too that because I know you earlier you talked about wanting to win a national title, and one thing which I was definitely wanted to ask you on while I had you here was I know that Hayden at one point earlier this, I think it was this season, was making a statement about how he would like the opportunity for you guys to compete dual wise against some of the other top teams out there, like the Iowas, Penn State, so you guys don't usually see. So for those who don't really follow, kind of postseason, where it's not really based on duels, it's based on how you do in your weight class, and how you do in your weight class gives you points, team points. So what's your kind of feel on that in terms of maybe how your entire regular season is based mostly on duels and how you do in duels, but then once you get to the postseason, it's based on more how you do individually?
Yeah, it's hard. There's been a lot of debate in terms of there should be a dual national champion and then an individual tournament national champion, because obviously you accumulate points both in a dual meet and in a tournament setting, but they are two different animals, and a lot of coaches are proponents of dual meets because dual meets are exciting. It's just you against another team, and an hour and a half. You don't have to sit around for 8 hours and watch that, even though it's the national tournament's exciting. You could watch it all day for 3 days and not get tired of it, but I think it's unfortunate because at one point we were talking with Oklahoma State about another unique duel like the one we did overseas in Italy, the first college duel overseas. And we were planning on something really special this year. And obviously it didn't come to fruition. And I know we had teams wanting to wrestle us and we wanted to wrestle teams. And it's just like the reality of we need to do what we need to do to have a season and sacrifice quite a bit and maybe next year, so.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely, and one thing too, to tell any state fan who hasn't seen a wrestling match, you kind of say how exciting dual matches are. I mean, I've been to many matches, specifically Virginia Tech matches, where most of the time the winner is they seed regular season champion or against Carolina, and most of those have come down to the last match, whether most time being heavyweight, and the stress, the nervousness in the room, the electricity is I would say right up there with anything else, any other sport there is. I mean, when we finally get that last two, especially if it goes to overtime, we get that last takedown and just the room just explodes. Oh, I mean, it's unlike anything else. So definitely, if you have not gone to see a match, I would definitely recommend go check it out. It's unreal. So, So, and then one thing which I was kind of curious about as well is, I mean, obviously when you look at a match that's 125 versus a heavyweight, is there a difference in terms of coaching it? I mean, you see the small guys and it seems more speed, while with heavyweight seems more strength and patience. I mean, is it really that different one versus the other, or are they pretty similar?
If you were to break it down in terms of basic wrestling, they're very similar. The output, I would say, isn't as high as you go up the weight classes. Some people say like they're watching 125 and they see like two cats or two squirrels fighting for some food or something. You know what I mean? And it's kind of true. But no, I think when in terms of basic wrestling, our practice schedule, individually guys may work on certain things specifically to them, but in practice, it's a when we have our team together, it's usually a common theme that we're going to see, or week to week, we really need to work on this specifically, and it covers for the whole team, because at the end of the day, everybody still probably needs to get reps in certain areas that we need to address as a team, even if it was only a few individuals that were affected in the previous week's duels or whatever. But we make sure that we hammer our overarching problems and challenges, and then, like I said, we get a lot of individual work in as well.
So, then you were hired in 2015. Give us like the top 2 or 3 wins y'all have had so far, best moments y'all have been in your career. Just, I know you've relished some more than others, so.
I'm glad you asked that question, because I was thinking about it the other day. I'm like, man, I've been fortunate to be a part of some awesome things. Definitely beating Iowa and Oklahoma State on the road. Probably Iowa more than anything because, we showed up and they're I don't know. They were the number one team, number two, whatever. I think Penn State was number one at the time. We were 2 and 3, whatever.
They were up there, regardless. Yeah.
And I don't think anybody gave us a glimmer of hope. And in fact, I thought I was kind of disappointed, to be honest. We showed up at the arena. I was telling our guys, yeah, we're going to wrestle in front of 15,000 people. And there was probably 6,000 or 7,000.
Underwhelming a little bit.
I was a little frustrated because it was the day after the high school state tournament. I was like, everybody and their brother is going to come and watch. Like, yeah, it's going to be a great duel, 2 top 10 teams. And,
for sure.
And, we got heckled, and there was a guy who sat behind us and just was relentless right behind our bench. And when Pete Renda won a back and forth match and kind of put the dagger in their heart, the guy shut up pretty quickly. And by the heavyweight
but
match.
See, don't you like that when that happens? Because it's like a little bit of like a, kind of, does it fire up some guys when they have fans like that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I would think so.
Trent Hiley loves that stuff. He'll turn around awesome. And just like he'll be like, "Yeah, let's go." Like, Awesome. So, and that was an awesome moment because I don't think still to this day nobody's ever beat Iowa and Oklahoma State on the road in the same year. And then really 2 years ago, winning our first ACC dual title over Virginia Tech at home.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Michael Boykin securing a takedown right at the end. And that kind of got us rolling where we won 3 ACC dual titles in a row now and 2 tournament titles in a row. And, we never stopped trying to be better because we know people are nipping at our heels and trying to be good. And that's what's awesome. We love about the ACC. It's very competitive. And we talked to our old coach Guzzo, and he's like, if you were a top 25 team back in the day, you won ACCs. But now we have 5 teams in the top 25, and, that's exciting. So
yeah, I just saw the rankings come out. Like you mentioned, Virginia Tech. So I've noticed, at least across the sports recently, that we've been playing we've had a lot of matches against Virginia Tech, whether it's in basketball or you mentioned my wife's a Hokie, so I pick on her a lot about that. But she doesn't follow the wrestling stuff as much, but it's fun when you mention stuff like that. You kind of relish that one in particular. I'll have to mention that one to her.
Yeah, and obviously UNC last year, unbelievable again. Just
you got to mention at least
winning
one
at the end.
Yeah. And because the one that I think got a lot of excitement was the Ohio State match. Obviously it was highlighted by Michael Machiavello winning that one, but I think that was kind of in my opinion, a great kind of measuring point of like, okay, where are we at as a program? And I think that if we were to compete now against them, I think it'd be a completely different story. So, but I think that was kind of a huge match in retrospect to kind of see where do we want to be? Would you agree on that?
Yeah, that actually springboarded us ahead because we knew we were right there. Pete Renda was in a dogfight with Miles Martin to win. Came down right at the end. Obviously, Tariq and Pletcher. I think for us, it validated we're right there. And it's gonna pay off at the right time. We didn't win ACCs that year either, and then we went to NCAA's and we peaked at the right time and came back with our first team trophy ever. And that was a huge match. In fact, after I remember coaching, I think Gwiz at Beat the Streets later that year, and I was just talking with Kyle Snyder. He's like, dude, when Mike Machiavello scored that winning takedown, I was supposed to go on the mat next. I couldn't hear myself think. Like I was like so disrupted, like going out on the mat because it was deafening.
So loud. Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's kind of the atmosphere that we tried to build, and it's fun, right?
Yeah. Yes, it is. So yeah, well, thank you again, Coach, for your time. Really do appreciate it. This was awesome kind of insight into the program. And again, just love seeing the trajectory in terms of, just like you said, how you guys year in and year out, his goal is to win a national title, win ACC title, period. And I think that's something that us state fans love to hear. And just can't wait to
seeing
see
it happen.
Yeah, can't wait to see many more banners up in the rafters real soon under you and Coach Pop. Really appreciate all the work that you guys put in. So
thanks, Coach.
So thank you again, Coach. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Go Pack.
All right, Wolfpack Nation, hope you guys enjoyed that interview with Adam Hall. It was an absolute pleasure to have him and really kind of give that insight in terms of that championship mindset that this program has. And it's really great and breath of fresh air for all state fans to really see that and, kind of see that work showing off on the mat. So with that being said, thank you all again for joining. As a reminder again, please subscribe, hit the button in the bottom right-hand corner, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and please like this video. And please tune in next week with our next episode, and we look forward to seeing y'all soon. Thanks again. Always go Pack.